Double trouble with double crown. So, I've just recently joined up with Patreon, which means you guys can now donate if you so wish, and it will be great if you could, because I can't do this without your help. I can't do these videos. I can't keep producing content without your help. So if you can click on my Patreon link, it's there on my banner art on my channel. So if you can click that, that would be great. Now take a look at this image here. What do you see? This is the sun. Now this video is about the sun, and it's about the nuclear power industry. So if we look at this image here, you can, the significant features of this are these prominences here, and now this is what's called the corona here, the outer, this glowing exterior, this outer, this plasma that we see on the outside, and these ejections here, coronal ejections I think they're called. And there's no explanation for them. The traditional view of what the sun is, what we've been told to believe about the sun, is that it is a nuclear reactor, that this is a nuclear process going on. But the nuclear process has no explanation for this corona. It has no explanation for these ejections. Yeah? So what we're traditionally told is that this is a huge, massive nuclear furnace going on here. And using that model of a nuclear reactor, you would assume that, inside the core here is some kind of chain reaction going on. This chain reaction would, this interior would be incredibly hot, with the bulk of the chain reactions occurring here, and gradually as you move out towards the surface, it would start to get cooler and cooler. That would be the model, the traditional model. This is what we are told to believe. But what's actually happening is this corona here, these ejections, this plasma here, is millions of degrees hot. Millions. I don't know, maybe 5, 6, a couple of million. I don't know what but it is millions of degrees. Yeah. Whereas if you look on the surface of the earth, the surface of the sun, the temperature there is only about 6,000 degrees. So that's a huge difference between the surface of the sun and this plasma, this corona, these ejections, which are millions of degrees. So what we're told about the sun, is not right. It's lies. The sun is actually, it looks to be actually some sort of electrical heater. A light bulb, if you like, a light bulb with a heat, one of those bar heaters, which gives off light and heat, or a light bulb, those traditional old-fashioned light bulbs which give off light and they give off heat. So the traditional nuclear model of the sun is not right. It's a lie. It's false. It looks to be false. Yeah. Now, if the sun is electric, where does it get its power from? Where's it plugged in? If it's electric, it must be plugged in somewhere. But it doesn't have a, I don't see any wires. I don't see a socket. And can you imagine the electricity bill on this thing? Can you imagine what this would cost? If you were to get a bill for this, can you imagine? Can you imagine the meter ticking away on this thing? Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to my next image. And this is the galaxy. I don't know which galaxy it is, but the Milky Way, which is where we are, looks very, very similar to this. And of course the sun is somewhere here. It's in one of these arms here, you know, one of these arms, this arm, or that arm, or this arm. Somewhere, you know, you would find our sun in one of those arms in a spiral galaxy like this. So why is this galaxy a spiral? Well, with this electric universe theory, what's suggested is these spiral arms are actually transmitting electricity. You know, there's a current passing through one of these arms. If you like, this is basically a string of fairy lights. It's Christmas lights, yeah? And what happens with Christmas lights? If one of the light bulbs goes out, they all go out. Okay, that's not exactly true. That was a lie. But you get the idea. There's actually currents passing through all of these arms, and they're called Birkeland Currents. So there's electricity flowing throughout the universe, throughout our galaxy, through these arms, lighting up each star along its way. And you know, that is the new theory. The old theory, the nuclear model, does not explain the corona. It does not explain you know, the temperature difference between the plasma, this corona, and the surface of the sun. It can't explain that difference. So we move on to the electric universe theory. And why are we sold this idea that the sun is actually nuclear? Why are we sold this lie? Well, that brings me on to my next slide, and we talk about radioactivity. So this is the nuclear model of the sun, and this is what we are sold: nuclear power. You know, people tell you, oh, nuclear power is good because that's the way the sun works. Nuclear power is good, it's just natural. You know, this is the way the galaxy operates. This is what powers the stars. But now we're learning that's not true. Nuclear energy is a lie. So let's have a look at how nuclear energy works. So we originally started with nuclear power using uranium. Here we've got uranium-238, and it can spontaneously emit particles. So you can get alpha particles emitted. Radioactivity can consist of gamma rays. It can emit neutrons or protons, even electrons and positrons. So that's how natural radioactivity works. And these particles that are emitted then go off to do some work. So let's go on to my next slide. And what can happen is one particle emits one nucleus emits a particle. That particle then hits another nucleus, and that will emit more particles, etc., etc. And this continues, and you get a kind of chain reaction. And that's how the nuclear process works. That's how the nuclear power industry works. You're getting a chain reaction. You're creating energy using this natural process of radioactivity. And this is the lie that we are sold, that this is the way to get energy. And the nuclear industry sells us this lie. That's how the sun is powered. It's perfectly natural. But look at what it's doing. It's emitting all this radioactivity, all these particles. You can get protons being emitted, you can get alpha particles being emitted, you can get neutrons, positrons, gamma rays, neutrinos, X-rays. It goes on and on. All these what is this? What is this? What is going on? This is effectively a gun. It's firing missiles. It is firing. This is a missile, this alpha particle here. This gamma ray. It's a missile. This neutron, this proton, this positron. This is the lie we are sold. This is a gun at the nuclear level. This is a gun at the energy level. It's firing missiles. And who's it hitting? Well, we know the nuclear industry produces all this waste. We've got all this shit, this waste, this garbage, and we have to store it for hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of years before it becomes safe again. We're having to store all this nuclear waste. What is it? It's a gun. It's firing missiles. Yeah, if it gets into the environment, if it gets into the water, if it gets in, we've had the Fukushima disaster. This is polluting the Pacific Ocean. It's polluting the environment. We get all these nuclear accidents, and this is polluting the world. It's creating little guns everywhere, which fire these missiles, and they hit the human body, or they go inside the human body. If we ingest these particles, and basically you've got a gun inside your body firing at your own body. This is working at the energetic level. And what does a gun do? A gun destroys. A gun sabotages. A gun destroys your insides. Yeah? And that is why they are promoting radioactivity. This is why they're promoting the nuclear power industry, because it serves no other purpose. It's not providing energy, not much anyway. It's not a natural process. The sun is not powered by the nuclear process. It's powered by electricity. But this is the lie we're sold, and this stuff gets into the environment and it just damages humans. This is a anti-human agenda that's going on. So I think that's all I've got time for. I've said what I wanted to say. The nuclear industry is a lie. Thanks for listening, and please leave your comments down below. That was Double Krown, over and out.